This past week has seen some pretty interesting new developments in the world of AI. NotebookLM has a little new feature. We're going to talk about that one. I really like it. Gemini has been releasing a ton of updates, and we have some pretty credible rumors about what's to come next for Gemini. And Anthropic has been absolutely cooking, and Claude Cowork is even more powerful than ever before. We're going to talk all about that in today's news update for the week. If you don't know who I am, my name is Paul J. Lipsky. Every single day almost, I release videos talking about AI tools that you actually care about. We don't talk about benchmarks. I'm not a coder. These are tools that are actually going to make a difference in your life and that you can actually understand. Let's talk about NotebookLM first, because this is a quick, fast update, but it is a huge quality of life improvement. Now, whenever you are inside a notebook and you create something inside of Studio over here on the right, which again are things like slide decks, video overviews, flashcards, infographics, anything like that, you can walk away, and once it's finished, you're going to get a notification on your phone letting you know that it was complete. To set this up for the first time, all you have to do is open up NotebookLM on your phone, start one of these generations, like flashcards, for instance. And the first time that you do this, you'll get a pop-up saying, hey, do you want to turn on notifications? Make sure to click on yes. And then once it is finished, you'll get a notification. And this works across devices. So if you start on the web and then leave the page, you'll get a mobile push notification when it finishes generating. So a small, really nice update from NotebookLM, but unfortunately that was the only NotebookLM update from the past week. But Gemini, on the other hand, has gotten a lot of updates over the past week, and these are really exciting. So first, when you come into Gemini, either on the web or on your phone, of course, we have Gemini Live. That's this button right here. That allows you to have a conversation with the AI. It feels sort of like you're talking with it. And that has gotten a major improvement over the past week. It's Live's biggest update yet. Responses are now faster, responses are smarter, and there's more linguistic range, and probably most importantly, it has twice the context. What that means is that if you're having a long conversation with Gemini Live, it's going to remember the start of the conversation for longer, which means it's going to stay on track and be able to actually help you more because it's remembering the full conversation. And all that is powered by Gemini 3.1 Flash. I've been testing this out myself for the past few days since it came out, and I noticed the difference. It is substantially faster, it is smarter, the context definitely feels larger. It's a lot more usable. In the past, I haven't been the biggest fan of Gemini Live. I really like Gemini and the app and the model, but I've always used Live with other services like ChatGPT just because it's worked better. But this is actually usable. I will actually start using Gemini Live because it is so much better than it was just a few days ago before this update. The next update is to this button right here, which is Gemini's transcription button. You click this, you talk, and then you stop talking, and it just sends the message to Gemini in the chat. But it doesn't really work that well because if you pause even a little bit, it will send the message even if you're not ready. It's not great, but Google has admitted it's not good and they are fixing it. It should already be fixed inside the Android app, and it's coming to iPhone as well. So that will then allow you to use transcription and pause to think about what you want to say, and it should still transcribe for you. So I'm eagerly awaiting that update because I use that quite a bit, or I will use that quite a bit, but I can't currently because it's just so annoying and the way it works. It just doesn't work well. We're not done with updates to Gemini yet because they just released another update to their music generation tool, Lyria. Now, Lyria has been out for a few weeks now. It allowed you to select one of these preset styles or choose one of your own, and it would produce 30-second tracks for you. But that has now been updated to Lyria 3 Pro. It's the most advanced AI music generation model from Google so far, and it can create up to 3-minute long tracks, and it also understands musical composition very, very well, and allows you to prompt for things like intro, verses, choruses, and bridges. So it is much more customizable than it was just a week ago. To use this, you want to click where it says music, and then you need to have on either Thinking or Pro, which means that this is now only available inside the Gemini app for paid subscribers. It is also accessible in some other places, like inside of videos that you could generate with Gemini or Google products, inside of Google AI Studio, and I think inside of Flow as well. Here, for example, is a song I just had it generate for me, all about the new Lyria 3 Pro.
I'm in the city, in the silence, in the calm. Lyria 3 Pro, Lyria 3 Pro, word up. We copped the new tool. Now we making every play by the master's rule.
So pretty fun. I don't think that something like this is going to replace musicians or going to win any type of awards, but it's really fun to play with. Ever since this came out a few weeks ago inside of Gemini, I've been playing around making those 30-second tracks and now the longer ones as well, sending them to my friends and family, doing things like roasting them or for birthdays. It's just really kind of fun for using for purposes like that. And while we're inside of Gemini, let me show you the last update before we get to the Gemini rumors. If you click on settings down here, you'll now see an option to import your memory to Gemini. If you select this, it will give you a prompt that you can copy. You can paste that into another AI provider. That AI will then produce an answer that you can copy, paste in here, and then click add to memory. So this makes it even easier to switch from other tools like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever else you're using to Gemini if that's what you want to do. And finally, we have a rumor that Google is developing a native Gemini app for the Mac. Right now, if you want to access Gemini from a MacBook, you have to do it through the web browser. It works great, but we definitely need a Mac app for this. Every other major AI tool out there has one. Gemini needs one. Hopefully it does actually come soon. It looks like that will change very soon. And who knows, that may unlock some additional possibilities. Maybe that will allow us, for instance, to interact with files on our computer. We'll have to wait and see what actually comes out of the app and when it comes out. If you want to make sure you stay on top of all the latest AI news, though, definitely make sure you subscribe anytime there's a rumor like this. I'll keep you guys updated. And certainly when it comes out, I'll be making a review of this new Mac app. So definitely make sure you subscribe. Now, let's switch gears and we'll talk about the other big player this week with a ton of AI updates. And those are Anthropic's updates to Claude. Now, keeping up with all the updates from Claude can be overwhelming. Pretty much every day, Anthropic is releasing a new update, and it's hard to know which ones you should actually care about. But if you're like me and you mainly use Claude Cowork, these are the only updates from the past week that you actually need to care about. First, we have projects. You can find those over here on the left. You can see I already made a bunch of them, but you won't have any in here yet if you haven't made any. You can start a new one by clicking a plus here. And these are basically workspaces. You can give them a name, a custom set of instructions, and tell them what file on your computer you want them to work inside of. So here's one of my projects. It's called Use Cases. I have instructions on the top right here. Over here inside context, you can see the folders that it has access to and all the files it has access to. And every project has a memory system as well. So as you use that project, you can add things to the memory that it will remember the next time you start a task inside this project in the future. In addition to that, you can see all the outputs that were produced using that project. So if you create a website and then you create a blog article and then you create some sort of presentation, all of those will appear right here, even if you did all of them inside of different tasks, as long as all those tasks were started inside this project. And then finally down here, we see all the tasks that were started from within this project. So it allows you to stay very organized in a very clean fashion. If you really want to learn how to get the most out of projects, I made an entire video about it because I think it's so important to the way that we use Claude Cowork now. You can find that video right here and also linked up in the description down below. The second big update to Claude is that it now has computer use. Click on Settings and then scroll down to General. You'll see right here computer use. And this is incredibly powerful. What it does is it allows Claude to actually take over your computer. It'll take a screenshot, then it will move the mouse and use your keyboard to actually control different apps on your computer. I have this set up on a Mac Mini. That's where I mainly use my Claude Cowork, and it's running tasks for me 24/7. And it is able to now open up different apps on my computer, actually navigate around them and take action, even though it doesn't natively have an integration with that app because it's using computer use. And when you pair that with Dispatch, which is the way that you can use your phone to actually communicate with Claude Cowork, you can say things like, oh, I left something on my desktop. Maybe it's a presentation that I left on my desktop. Can you grab that presentation and email it to me? And then it'll open up your email, compose a message to yourself, drag that file in, and then send it to yourself. It is incredibly impressive with what it can do. Again, this is so important. I made a video dedicated just to computer use. If you want to learn all about it, linked up here and also in the description down below. And then finally, Claude now lets you use work tools inside the app on your phone. And this isn't just limited to Cowork. This works with just Claude, the chat itself. So you can do Figma designs, create Canva slides, check Amplitude dashboards, all from your phone. This is really turning Claude into an on-the-go agent. A lot of people are calling it a OpenClaw killer because of all the updates this week. That's debatable, but it is certainly incredibly powerful. And I think for the average person, like, this is one of the best AI agents that is currently available. And now we have a very surprising rumor about Apple's Siri from a very credible source. It is rumored that Apple is planning to open up Siri to run any AI service via their App Store apps as part of iOS 27, which will drop this year in 2026. So what does that mean? Well, it means you'll be able to use Siri to ask questions to Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude as long as you have the apps on your phone, it seems like. It's not quite clear how this will work, but it does mean that Apple doesn't need to form relationships with these companies like they had to do with ChatGPT to integrate ChatGPT into Siri like they did in the past. There's still a lot to kind of understand about this because this is just a rumor at this point, but it does seem like this could potentially make Siri actually really powerful because you're not just limited to answers from Siri and whatever models they're working on, but you can actually use Siri as an orchestrator where it's sending out the query or the task to whatever AI model that you want to use. But as with all things Apple, we'll just have to wait and see because they don't really confirm any rumors until they actually drop the announcement. And then finally, Sora is being shut down by OpenAI. You guys remember this app? This was the app that allowed you to scan an image of your face and then create any videos you want with yourself inside of it. Most people called it AI slop at its finest, and it is being completely shut down by OpenAI now. Now, this seemed to have taken a lot of people by surprise, including probably the Sora team. Just the day before, they had made some announcements, and then the next day, they announced they were being shut down. They had recently signed a $1.5 billion deal with Disney. Now that deal is off the table. And this isn't just shutting down the Sora app, it's shutting down the service entirely. Everywhere that Sora is being used, like the API, is now gone. And it seems like the reason OpenAI is doing this is because they want to concentrate on better services. They want to concentrate on better experiences and the things that actually matter. So hopefully this means that OpenAI will really focus its efforts more onto the apps and experiences that we actually care about. Recently, over the past couple months, I've personally felt that they've been a bit scattered, doing too many different things, even things like their browser, Atlas. I don't use it. I don't know anyone who uses it. It's not quite that good. So hopefully they now focus on the important stuff and ChatGPT itself gets a lot better, but we'll wait and see what happens. So there you go. That's all the AI news from the past week that I think regular people will actually care about. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to start doing this every single week, releasing a news report just like this one, in addition to all the other videos I make, reviewing, testing, and showing you how to use the best AI tools for regular people. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another crazy week in the world of AI. Bye for now.